So it was really the people that kept me there because I'll be honest, I had people on my team that were my grandmothers, and they would cry because Amazon wouldn't move them to another department that was easier. And I felt terrible because I can't do anything. I can only do but so much. I can only recommend stuff. I couldn't make a decision. I couldn't really help them. But as a supervisor, I became a therapist over the years. I
I know that
really,
life.
right. I really knew who these people were. I went to their baby showers. They went to my birthday parties. We went to the clubs together. We went to bars together. I was with the people, and it's even frowned upon. Like, management is not supposed to hang out with employee level. I didn't care about that. I was smoking weed with my manager every night, every weekend, because my manager was from New Jersey. He also was from the hood.
Y'all had
So
matching do-rags. It was squad.
yo, right. So, and that's rare. That's rare because usually they don't put two people of color together, but they
Ah.
did it. They did it on nights because on nights they seem to put all the people of color on nights, which is another thing. Another thing that really put me over the top with the company. Before the pandemic, I applied to be a salary manager over 50 times. And I only got interviewed twice in 5 years. And I was overqualified. So I knew that it was systemic racism it pretty much was embedded into Amazon's culture. And I wasn't with it anymore.
So when you decided to start the union, because I think I probably asked the question that took us off. Like, everything you say, I've like become more. I think let me just full disclosure, y'all. Like, labor and labor unions, etc., for a lot of us, and I'm gonna say myself included, have felt like this thing that's like in orbit out here. Right? Like, when you say that in Sweden, it's 90%, labor unions, that means that it's a part of the culture. Like, that's something that kids know about, that's something that you are aware of because it is a part of your society. It is actively not that here, right? So in doing so, it makes it to where, like, you don't even fully understand the importance of it. It almost seems like a mystery, right? So I was so excited.
It's like an exclusive club.
What'd you say?
It's like an exclusive club.
Yes. So I was so excited to talk to you today because, mind you, I've been SAG since I was 8. I have been in a labor union since I was 8 years old and never really understood what the true existence and necessities of labor unions were beyond the union is supposed to protect the laborers, right? Like, that's just like the headline. But in listening to you, you really start to understand the relationship beyond that, because this is a country that is a corporation. And so the labor unions are not just protecting, quote unquote, the laborers. The laborers are being used in a corporate fashion to fund a country that does not consider them humans. And this is a country that was founded on slavery. So it is very close in nature to the ways in which this country has always operated. It has needed a labor force for it to be considered, above board or working and functioning. But that labor force doesn't have any representation with the actual corporate structures in a real way. That's what you were saying in the beginning, right? That, like, am I getting it?
Oh, no,
am I getting it?
You absolutely are. And I'm gonna add some more gem to it. It's like, you said it correctly. Like, we're not a part of government the way we should be. You know why? As you mentioned, Sweden, and I can go to the UK as well, London and Canada. Guess what they have that we don't have? They have the Labor Party.
Duh. Right.
So they are actually part of the government. Like you mentioned, 90%, you're born into a union in Sweden. Like, people at Subway, McDonald's, they have a union for every individual. Like, I could be at Subway and I'll be in a totally different union from the person sitting right next to me at the cash register.
Interesting.
Like, you get a choice. We don't even get that. So this is what I'm talking about. They're not just a part of the culture, they're a part of the government. The unions, why you think Tesla and Elon is making headlines right now? Because Tesla tried to go to Sweden, of all countries, and say, oh, we're going to sue the government because we don't want to work with the unions. They laughing at Elon right now. What? You're not getting shit over here without talking to us. And if you try to go next door, guess what? We got that too. So they shut down Sweden and Denmark and wherever else he trying to go because he's trying to go around the unions in a 90% union country. He could do that in America because we just, the United States of corporations. But the bigger issue is that we're not a part of government the way we should be. The NLRB process is, come on now, it's not what it is. We got people, including myself, that got wrongfully fired, publicly, wrongfully fired, and I still have my job back. Letitia James picked up my case, the person who's suing Donald Trump.
Yeah.
She took my case. Dismissed. So where's my justice at? Where's my justice? If I don't organize, I get nothing. And that's what we tell people. There's a difference between being in a union and being in a fighting union. There's a huge difference between that. You could be in a union, yeah, you get your union perks and your union dues and this, that, and the services, whatever. But are y'all organizing to bring more people into the union? That hasn't been happening in this country. This is why in America, we're in a country where union density is less than 6%. Nobody named Mother knows what a union is right now. It's not just you, not just I, and you are a part of the union. Nobody. We're not educated. All these teacher unions in this country, y'all telling me y'all not teaching y'all students about joining a union? Instead of career day, y'all bringing in police officers and firefighters and doctors and nurses. Y'all not bringing in union leaders? What's going on here? It's not like that in other countries. The unions are very much a part of government. They are, if not, they are 1/3 of the government, 1/3 of it. They have their own party. They have their own politicians, their own prime ministers, MPs, whatever, and they have a voice. If something was to happen real time, they're able to change it real time. We have to wait every 3 or 4 years. We got to wait for the next administration. And by that time, it's too late. So now for the last 60 years, we've been getting screwed over. That's where we at right now. So we're going to wait. We're going to wait till Trump's back in there. And then we're going to cry wolf. When we know the issues right now, like I mentioned, I'm a rookie. What are all these other union presidents doing right now? Instead, what they're doing is they're kissing the Democrat Party. They're endorsing all these politicians that don't do for them. And they're giving y'all union dues. Let me ask you a question. You're part of SAG, right? SAG is a part of AFL-CIO, right? I believe. Did you authorize AFL-CIO to endorse Joe Biden? They already made that decision for you. In case you didn't know.
I didn't know.
Y'all was the first one. The AFL-CIO was the first one to endorse Biden this year. Where did that come from? How the hell y'all endorse a president that ain't done for y'all? The man used the railroad strike on the railroad strikers just last year.
Yep.
But y'all endorsed this man. So, but did they go to each member and ask y'all for your say in that?
Right.
No.
Did we even do a majority vote? No.
No. So they endorsing politicians with y'all union dues without y'all permission. Why you think my union is independent? And that's what people were like. They like, oh, we're not a part of the AFL-CIO, so we don't get invited to the conferences and this, that, and the third. That's a damn shame. Because if you care about workers, it should be about workers. It shouldn't be about politics and who's affiliated with who. It's about workers, but it's not the case.
So y'all, we about to head over to the SEAL Squad. So if you want to come and find out these answers to these questions for Mr. Chris Smalls, then you know what to do. Head on over to my Patreon.